Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Marketing Genius Unpacked, the playbook for building and marketing AI products that win. I'm your host, Josh Porter, founder of Bit of Genius Consulting, where I help AI growth stage companies turn complex technology into clear, compelling stories that drive adoption and scale. Today, we're diving into a conversation that sits right at the intersection of product management and product marketing and how those two functions collaborate together to create successful AI products. Joining today is Yariv Adan, General Partner at Ellipsis, which invests in early stage AI startups. Before Ellipsis, Yariv spent over 15 years at Google, where he and I met and worked closely together. He led product for Google Assistant and spearheaded innovation for conversational AI. With deep experience in product strategy, AI, and user experience, he's passionate about building technology that bridges human intention and intelligent interaction at scale. Yariv, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Great to be here and great to see you again. I enjoyed and valued the time we worked together. So happy to collaborate again. Good memories.
Absolutely. All right, Yariv, well, let's get into it. First question is pretty foundational. In your experience leading product teams at Google and now working with AI startups, how do you see the relationship with product management and product marketing evolving in the AI era?
Um, so I think like at the basic, even right, like especially in enterprise, I think that product marketing is core part of the product because one thing you want to make sure that you're building the right product for the user, but actually
Yes.
positioning, pricing, distributing, deploying, like, all the go-to-market activities are as critical. And many times, right, it's not just like, for the actual user, there's also the buyer, right? So that complexity
Yes.
is very hard. And I think it's a little bit of almost different expertise where sometimes, product managers are a bit deeper, and because of that, maybe slightly narrower or more focused on their area. Sometimes product marketing have a different perspective. Um, and also, I think, like, long ago, someone told me that product managers are like parents. They can't admit their baby is ugly. Like,
Yeah.
so having, like, some close uncle or aunt that can point at some issues of the baby, not to throw it away, but to fix the problems, I think it's always helpful. So
Yeah.
I think, like, when it works, I think it's an amazing symbiotic, and actually it makes sure that we are actually delivering the thing we need to the market in the best way to access the market and make it easy for the users to understand what we're doing and to actually use it. And I don't think there is a clear divide because I
Yeah.
think everyone provides a slightly, their own view. And sometimes I think product marketing is called external product management because it's sometimes still product managers, as good they are, and there's still too much. They do have an internal view and somewhat biased. That doesn't matter how good they are. And I think usually the product marketers are a bit more external, which always helps.
Yeah.
So I think that's how I see the relationship, and ideally they should always work together from the very early stages. I think just like any other thing, privacy, security, whatever it is, it's very hard to do it if it's like you stick it on top of an existing product. And I think
Yes.
this is like many times you think, oh, the product, marketing sucks. No, it's just like, they're brought in the wrong time. I think like if you design good product marketing into the product, in how you think about it, how you design it, how you name it, and everything, I think then everything is in the zone. Um, I think in the AI era, I honestly think that it's it's more challenging because I think
Yeah.
differentiation is harder, and a lot of the things have been democratized. So I
Yes.
think a lot of the skills that you thought that are at the core of your profession, of articulating a message, of generating materials, of coming up with witty ideas, of summarizing, generating exact good examples, finding. Actually, models, if I'd be nice, I'd say pretty good. I would say better in a lot of that. I still
Right.
think, what I've seen is that although I'm on I think models are a bit more than tools, but they are always as good as the person using them,
Yes, exactly.
both in terms the person's own deep understanding of the product and the market, and the person's creativity and ideas and yeah, right. So I think it is a harder. Competition is harder. I think like if before Google had an advantage because we had like amazing, we had budget for amazing product marketing managers, and we could have like relatively quite a few of them, where
Yes.
startups either had zero or like a super stretched thin. Now a lot of people have it, and the technology also looks the same, right? It's very easy to create a demo, it's very easy to create materials. So I think AI raises the bar on differentiation and creativity, and I think that product marketing in a lot of ways is differentiation and creativity. um, so I think like many other technologies, they make the great people better, but they make most people, I wouldn't say worse, but average. They basically raise
Hmm.
the bar. So I think like today you need to convince people why to hire you, and I think if you are great you can show it. But a lot of founders are like, do I really need to hire product manager, front end engineer, UX person,
Yes.
UX research, right? A lot of these things, your right to exist needs to be proven, and yeah. So I think it's very interesting. I think on the other hand, if you are good, you have superpowers. You have much less dependency on other people,
Yep.
and if you are quick, you can actually bounce ideas and get to great things with these models. Like I think that these models are amazing
Oh yeah.
tools. So that was a very long-winded answer.
No, but there's a lot there, and there's a lot to unpack, and it was good. I think the most important thing you started with was how the product team and the product marketing team work together to understand that first the user and then also the buyer, and that those are two different things
Yeah.
as we work
And the
together on.
industry and the market, right? And the vision on the future. Yeah.
Yeah, and how product marketing, as you mentioned, is kind of like this external product team, but product marketing is not just about bringing the product to the market, but also bringing the market to the
So
product.
100%.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah,
Right?
yeah,
So many times I've seen like teams building amazing products that have nothing to do with the market or the user, right? Like, um, and it is the problem because when you're like trying to launch and build a product, you are actually distracted by many things that have nothing to do with the market, and sometimes, definitely in big tech, you're just trying to get some yes on some process that has nothing to do with the market, and you're like
yes,
completely, your life is being sucked out of it, and at the end you have something that that if your VP was the market, maybe he loves it. Like,
yeah, 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 yeah. The one person market may have been very happy, but nobody else cared.
deals are done.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and I also like that too. You're right about that in that ideally the product marketing in a way can counterbalance product because it's not like you said, it's like maybe calling your baby ugly. It's sometimes you get market feedback that's like, well, that feature's not necessarily useful, or maybe they like it a different way. And so
And also, right, like, and I don't think it's like unique, right? Like, I think there is like this, like there is the engineering lead, there is the product lead, there is the UX lead, and there is the product marketing lead, and I think each one brings a unique angle that in order to do really, really well, everyone should have an equal voice in the room. Unfortunately, in
yeah,
many cases, if, for all the wrong reasons, that's not the case. Um, but I also think that if you cannot excite or convince your own marketing team, you will struggle to do it to users because they
mhm,
are on your side. They understand deeply. They work on it all day. Like other people are distracted. They have 2 seconds to understand what they're doing. Nobody likes changes or new stuff. If you cannot, like I always, when a PM came to me and said, "Oh, the marketing guy doesn't get it. Oh, the engineers are not doing what I tell them." I'm like, dude, that's a strong signal. If you cannot get your team excited, you will struggle in the market, and
yeah.
especially people that bring the market view.
In a way, it's like a test market.
Yeah, totally right. Like, this is why I love, dog food, whatever friction point that you can put, right? Like, it sucks to fail internally. I can tell you it sucks much more to fail externally.
Amen to that for
Yeah.
sure. Um, okay, awesome. Well, next question is one of the biggest challenges AI companies have is balancing technical innovation with market understanding. And you, as someone who's led technical products like Google Assistant, how did you ensure that the product strategy stayed rooted in customer needs?
Yeah, yeah, there is a bunch of different challenges. Sometimes, especially now, if you're visionary and you have an idea where the market is going, and you're trying to build something for where the market is going to be versus where the market is,
Mm,
by definition, you're starting with some disconnect with the market.
hmm
I think that, and I think that's fine. And I always like this kind of things. At some point, this shouldn't be two parallel lines forever, or at least not an Euclidean surface. They should meet at some point. Like, and there is this kind of the drunk man dilemma that if you want to go into a bar and you want to go out before you're drunk, you need to ask for someone to take you out, right? Because once you're in there, it's very hard. You need to define before, this is my success criteria. These are the milestones. If I don't do it, I should get out, right? Like it's kind of someone once told me it's like reality field distortion. People suffer.
yeah,
So I
totally.
think that's one challenge, and and people just like do it, and this is how company continue to burn money, or company spend a lot of time just because yeah, it's almost there. And a little bit Google Assistant, we basically saw the Chat GPT moment just 10 years before it was ready, or 8 years, 8 years before it was
Yes.
ready. And I think to some extent, okay, that desert that we worked need to be worked by someone, and Google had the big pockets to walk it, and Transformer go, things were like it wasn't wasted effort, but another company with less pockets wouldn't have survived. Um, and you need to make sure that you're not building a solution looking for a problem. The fact that something is cool and is useful in some scenario and some users, will use it doesn't mean that it's going to be successful, right? And someone always, told me, product managers come in three flavors, and I hope this passes the US test. But it
Uh-huh.
comes in painkillers, vitamins, and Viagra. You always start with the painkiller. You always need to solve a problem that the current user has with current budgets and the current buyer, and very clear. Then you
hmm
can go on to the vitamin, make things better and whatnot, and then go to the dream. It's very hard to, and yeah, maybe Google shared the money, and sometimes we did that, but I think for most companies usually start with the painkiller, and I think that again that's something that many times people, especially when they come with technology and they're in love with that, they just really forget, and a lot of technologies just don't understand. By the way, we take a lot of things for granted, like
Yeah.
product market fit, user pay. These are things we learned. You are not born with that. When you study a technical field, you are
Yeah.
like in the technical. You are thinking, oh, I can suddenly do this that I couldn't do before. I have this genius idea, but
Right.
how big is the market? Who is the buyer? What are the budgets? How do you get like all the good go-to-market questions? How will people understand it? What are the buying cycles? Who is the competition? Right? Like these are things that if you haven't done them, you just don't think of them, right? It's not
Oh yeah.
nothing of here is intuitive. This is why, by the way, it's very hard to find good product managers and good product marketing people, because this not. So I think a lot of people come from that, and they learn the hard way, right? Like, oh, there is like the myth that people will find it, right? Like I get
hmm
so many people now coming to me and saying, oh, we built this like amazing personal assistant, I'm like, dude, like you're competing with people that own the OS, not just on the
Yes.
phone, but on ear. They have operating in the car, they're connected to speakers, they're connected to TVs, they have distribution, they have access to tool. You cannot put an app and expect like, and I think like many times it's the stuff that they don't know, and especially if they come out university, or or all the founders are technical people with no one that ever had any marketing or product experience. They just
Yep.
don't know what they don't know, and I think that that is and people get in love in ideas. Like don't fall in love in your ideas is like, rule number one. Like
Yeah.
focus on a problem. If the problem is good, follow the users, and they
Yes.
will show you, right? I think like the best example that I have is search, right? Like they wanted to make you information universally accessible and useful, right? So they built a search engine, but then they found out that the problem is not in the PageRank algorithm. People don't know how to write queries, so they did suggest.
Yes.
People don't speak English, they did translate. You
Yes.
know, the stuff don't exist on the internet, so they created books and for like the problems are never the problem start. They started with PageRank, which was a technical problem of making ranking, faster, but they found out no, people aren't finding the answers for many, many other reasons. And they need, and I think like, yeah, they own the problem of making that thing out there. They did not fall in love in any technology or feature, and they just follow the user to
Yes.
understand really what is blocking that user from getting the value. Why aren't they adopting my product? Why are they getting the max? Why am I not seeing engagement and retention? Kind of what seems to us trivial. But very few do it. Most people are just like, oh, this genius idea, let me build this. The other problem is that, by the way, with AI has this problem of that quality. Quality is the product. The thing, it's very simple. The product doesn't have complicated things. It's a chatbot.
Yes. Yes.
But for it to be useful, it needs to be high quality. It needs to be right, relevant, all of the things. But you never really know how good it needs to be and how far am I from it. By the way, the problem with assistant, it was very clear how good assistant needs to be and how far are we from that point, right? And like this is, I think, the challenge in AI. It's so hard to eval, unlike UX that we know to build a SaaS product. That's known engineering. I
Oh
know how
yeah.
to, whether it works or not, and I know how much work I have, so I know that will be ready. But this is why people are talking. When will AI could be used in the enterprise? When it could be this or that. How far is it? Where is the problem?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I like how you start out with the idea of like having where's the product going, but where's also the market going, and they can't they do intersect at some point, and you have to think about where it's going. I like how Steve Jobs would refer to Wayne Gretzky. I don't know where to go where the puck is. I go where the puck is going, and so I think you're totally spot on with that. It's not about just creating these amazing technical products. It's like where's the market going, and you go that direction. So I think that's really key. And then also the other point about it's about really taking what are those pains. It's one thing to create this amazing product that has all these features and capabilities, but if it doesn't address the pain point, something that somebody actually direly needs, then people aren't likely going to adopt it. So you have to have that understanding of what those pain
Yeah,
points
what is
are.
the value? If your sales cycle is long, you have a problem in the value. You don't have a problem in the sales cycle. And I think like again, right? Like the value needs to be super clear that you can explain it to a 5-year-old, it saves you money, makes you money, or saves you time that is very easily allocated with top line or bottom line. The moment you start become removed from it, oh, this allows you in some cases to save time, this is where you need like really, really product. It's not a product marketing, you need a magician for a smoke screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes magicians can be helpful, but
Yeah.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
you're absolutely
You
right
cannot
about that.
magic is not a strategy. Yeah.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? All right. Next question. When it comes to aligning the product vision with the go to market execution, how do you make sure that the product story is about what it does, why it matters, and it stays consistent with the roadmap from when you develop the product to the marketing launch?
I think I think it needs to be simple.
Hmm.
I think like I think that honestly the same applies to goals and stuff. Like the biggest way to test it, just like stop people in the corridor and ask them, what is our story?
Hmm.
How do you explain our value to a customer? Why, and if your people can't remember it, and if your people can't tell the story, that's like, that's a tough question. So I think like, first
Yes.
just like, and by the way, I did that. Hey, what are we trying to achieve? What are we trying to deliver? Why? Right? Like so. And it needs to be super simple and easy to remember, to understand. It cannot be this complicated. I think that's first, and then you need to get to reality, right? Like it's like dog food, right? The most important thing when you build a product is don't work in your head, because you have no idea to simulate
Mm,
reality. As soon as you can get a feedback loop with reality, put something out there. It doesn't need to be in a customer, right? Like talk to someone, talk to 10 people. Very quickly you understand, people understand. The same thing is here. If you have hey, I want to build this product, I'm trying to solve this problem, this is how I'm going to approach it. Does that resonate with you? Just talk with people in the industry. This question took 30 seconds of your time. You will see, do people understand you? Are people excited? Do people want to meet you again?
yeah.
And I think, like, again, and then, like, if you can find, like, trusted people that can also tell you, hey, I didn't here, to get their feedback, how they see it, because many times, you speak your language, right? Like, Google is a
Yes.
software company, Californian software company. It
Yes.
doesn't sell to Californian software companies. It sells for today different people coming from a different world, and you need to speak their language, and you need to speak their problems, and you need to speak, like, what they're familiar with. Like, and for many people, like, great vision and innovation is overwhelming, and you need to, I think it's important to bring it,
Uh,
but you need to think how to do it. Like, razzling and dazzling is important, but it needs to be, it's like a dance with some, like, very grounded, clear value that comes from their world. Like, hey, you waste so much my time on this, I'm going to solve that problem. Like,
yeah.
yeah. And just, like, see whether people can actually repeat it, people understand it, people get excited. If they are not, if people are, yeah, okay, yeah, cool, but they don't want to have another meeting, they don't want to try your product, after, right? That's meet 10 people.
Yep.
If all of you, if you don't see, like, yeah, just do something else. Like, even with an exciting product, it's hard to succeed. Like,
Yes.
don't go to the market with a me three or something complicated or a marginal value. Yeah, you will, you'll suffer.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah, temporary success is far beaten by the stench of ongoing failure. Yeah. So.
yeah, totally. Well, and I like that too. When you're thinking about obviously doing some internal testing of the narrative, can you
Yeah.
go tell the story to somebody internally, and then if they can't repeat it back to you, then maybe it doesn't make sense to them, and maybe we need to think about that story, and then it's going even testing it even further, talking, as we work with industry analysts to have tell our story to them, and could
Yeah.
they echo it back to us? And if they couldn't, then there's some tweaking that needed to be made. But if they could, it's so much better because then you have that external credibility with in a case like of an analyst.
Also, less is more. Like, just really understand what is the most important thing, both in terms of product and message, and go on that. It's very rare that I've seen that n arguments or n features didn't convince, and suddenly the n plus one, and
Mhm.
and also usually you start with the biz, when you add noise, you reduce value. So I think, like, really, also in product marketing, like, again, when to up, right? Super clear, super clean. That's it. Like, and I think, like, people and try, and it looks like a UX from the 80s. Yeah. As well, right? So much text, and no one reads that,
yes.
right? And everyone, like, stops listening to after 1 minute. So, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. You definitely want to um, be
focused. Yeah.
be focused and be simple because for product and product marketing together to reach a buyer or user, you got to really, especially for AI, translate something that's super complex
Yeah.
and make it into a story that's compelling that they understand.
And also understand, right? Like, people always see the world from their own point of view. This is, I think, the biggest failure of any interaction,
Mm.
personal and professional. Like, really put yourself in their shoes, like, true
Yes.
empathy. What are they afraid of?
Yes.
Are you bringing a risk into their world? What happens if this doesn't work? Really. And I think, like, if you come from an empathetic kind of product marketing, really understand the user, I think, like, also you will have a better messaging and an approach and everything would just work better. But I think like, yeah, we're always like, oh, I want this to succeed. Like, oh, it's not
Yeah.
working. Let's push harder.
Yeah. Yeah. The empathy is really key.
Yeah,
Because if you're just thinking what you want to get out of it or what the company wants to get out of it, then you're not going to go very far.
doesn't work. You can try.
Yeah, you can try. All right. Next question is about AI tools. So, how do you see AI tools helping the way product and product marketing teams working together? Do you see it enhancing collaboration? Do you see challenges that are coming up with this? And I know we touched on this a little bit earlier, but how do you see this evolving the way product and product marketing work together?
Well, if you we spoke about magic, I think it's magic, to be honest. I,
Yeah.
I think like at the end, the most important single metric for every team and company, at least in my opinion, it's velocity.
Ah,
Like, how fast can you move and how big is your vector, basically, and how much mass can you move, how fast. And I think these AI things, if you use correctly, they are like amazing multipliers to that velocity and mass, right? So
yes.
yeah, so basically your momentum, right? I show off my physics. Um,
There you go.
MV.
Flex.
Um, so so and with very little resources, right? Again, right? It's like ridiculously cheap to do it.
Yes.
So, example from my own, we are two general partners and we're trying very hard to remain lean and not hire junior people. And we have agents and they're like, super good. And again, like any other, just like managing, you don't delegate blindly also to people. I think a lot of the problems we're seeing with
Right.
AI exist with people, just it's multiplied and faster. Um, so I think really from generating ideas to learning the market to analyzing to preparing for meetings to reach out to many customers
Yep.
to generate materials that are understandable in many ways to translate to allow them to ask questions to collect data from users to right. There are so many tools that actually really before either was impossible or very hard, very costly and very slow.
Yeah.
So I think that actually people that are aware, and again, going back, you need to know what questions to ask. And I'm so
Yes.
proud, I actually give this talk to beginners, not in marketing, but generally, how to use AI. All right,
Mm,
and it's funny, right? Like even in their daily life, and I'm just like telling you, don't be afraid to ask. It doesn't judge you. It doesn't get tired. It doesn't get frustrated. It doesn't remember. Repeat if you're unhappy. Give feedback and ask. Ask
yep.
it how to ask it. It's actually very good. Hey, I need to do that. Can you? Yeah.
Yes.
And let it reflect on what it has done. Hey, you said this. The other model said that. What do you think? Create something better. If you and again, like if you don't know the basics of PMF and customer, no way I will help you.
Yes.
If you understand what you need to ask and what you need to do, I think it can generate, amazing outputs at a much broader scale, at cheaper price. Yeah, so yeah, it's magic for the magicians, right? Not everyone can do magic, Harry Potter and
Yes.
models and all that. Yeah, yeah. So there's the AI wizards. Yeah.
Yeah. The way. Yes. Absolutely. No, I love that. I think that's great. I think, as you said at the top, the biggest thing is about velocity, and if you're able to increase your ability to create, outputs, messaging, and get certain processes done faster, that's what's key. But you need to have that foundation before, as you mentioned, understanding the product market fit, understanding the customer, knowing what questions to ask it to help you to increase your speed.
And
So
understand the industry, by the way. I think like what separates good PMs and PMMs and any, is people that really understand the industry and people that don't to a depth.
absolutely, that domain knowledge for
Yeah.
sure. All right. Well, Yuri, this has been a really incredible conversation. I really like how you frame the partnership between product management and product marketing is not just collaboration, but as co-creation.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good perspective to have as AI teams look to build products today. So before we wrap, I really want to shift gears into our traditional rapid fire round questions. Just
Go. Yes,
short, quick answers, and this is all fun. So, are you ready for it?
I am ready for it.
All right, awesome. Uh, First question: what's your favorite marketing tool?
The models.
The models.
I think yeah. I hardly use any tool because I find that most people like actually they boot a wrapper and I lose control. I think the models are there at the forefront. Yeah, so I think they do amazing things, including creating full apps and full stuff. Yeah, so I'm like I'm a model man. Yeah,
I love that. I love that. You're going to the fundamental
yeah, yeah,
fundamental piece out
amazing.
there.
Yeah, and I use
So
all of them. Yeah,
yeah,
so I
that's
think
great.
it's something. Yeah.
Get that variety. So that's helpful. All right. Next question is: in your experience working in product marketing, what do you think the most underrated skill is for that team?
Deep understanding of the industry and the market. If you don't have that, everything you're doing is BS. And just like the more you do, the worse you do.
Yeah.
I think like the foundations of understanding the user, the buyer, the industry, once you have that, then your skills are an amplifier. It's like zero and ones. When if you put the one
Mm,
in zero grows, otherwise, yeah. So I think
yeah.
like yeah, that's and I think that's the challenge because many times you take a marketing person, you spread them thin over two months, and they just cannot have the context. So they come and yeah, they can do kind of work, but they know so little and they're involved in like so few of the interactions also with the team. And then yeah, it becomes some sugar on top instead of sugar in the it tastes try cake sugar on top versus sugar in the ingredients, you notice the difference.
Yeah, no, totally. No, I don't like that. It's as you have that understanding of the market and the customers that enables you with a foundation that amplifies the rest of the function. But if
Yeah.
you don't, then actually, yeah, you're right. It's a good point. It can make it worse. So that's a
Yeah,
really
your insights and whatever, yeah, need to be
yeah.
rooted in deep understanding.
All right, next question. What do you think the biggest mistake is to avoid in product marketing?
Lack of empathy and trying to make your manager happy or your org happy, right? Like an internal, too much of internal ends, too much of a cheerleader. I think that the returns are expire quickly. Like I
Mm,
really think like be the voice of the user, be the voice of the market, and also I think like and that requires interacting with the market. Like I often ask everyone that comes to me whether that marketing UX or a product and says I ask them when was the last time you met a customer? How many customers did you meet last month? When was the last time that you used our product? When was the last time that you've seen any competitive product? Oh, so please save me.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
I think these are like, yeah, I think like, again, having that foundation and maintaining that foundation, I think is critical.
Yeah, yeah. I like how you point out it's
Yeah.
having the frequency of touch with
Yeah.
product with the customer
With the,
and the product
and
itself.
the company really understanding, I think like a lot of teams just look internally at their own success metrics that are disconnected from the organ and reality, and then they think that they're successful and they don't understand why no one cares and why at the end they cannot sell, right? Because they were just measuring the wrong thing. So really being connected to what the org cares and what the customer wants. Yeah. I think
Absolutely.
that's generally a fail point.
Next question is: what's one thing you wish you had known when you started working with product marketing?
Man, so many things. I wish I knew that I should involve them early on. Like I said, that actually they should be design partners.
Hmm.
I wish I understood how important go-to-market is compared to just building the right product. And I think like really thinking about like not just what the feature, which again I think product marketing has a lot of input into that, but how do you take it into the product and become successful? Is an orthogonal thing
Yeah,
that is very hard to do as an afterthought. Um, yeah, I think this is stuff that I learned, like the importance of that. Yeah, that it's not just like yeah, let's. And I think that's the problem with Google search, right? The first success of Google was so good and so related to the product that it took us a long time to understand that this doesn't work in most cases. That
mm,
actually in most cases you need to listen to the market to cater for the market, right? You need to be less honestly a bit more humble,
yeah,
and I think this is the places where Google struggles until this day.
yeah, yeah. Makes sense. All right, and then last question. what's your favorite podcast?
I have three, I think. I
Okay.
really like latent space,
Okay.
and very technical. I like Dwarkesh. He's actually super good. He brings like super good people like top caliber, and he asks great questions. And I like Acquired. I don't know if you know. It's like
Uh-huh.
super long format, but like super good, deep insights on company delivered in such a good way. So I think like it's three very different types of podcasts, but I think like they really own their vertical. Yeah.
I love it. Those are great. That's great. Really good to kind of listen to what you listen to kind of keep your game up. So I really appreciate that. All right, Yariv. Well, thank you for joining me today. I feel like this was really packed with insight, and I think our listeners will walk away with stronger understanding of how product management and product marketing can partner together and make AI innovation really resonate with customers.
Awesome. Glad to be
For
here. It
tho-
was so fun.
Absolutely. And for
Thanks.
those tuning in, this has been a episode of Marketing Genius Unpacked, the playbook for building and marketing AI products that win. If you enjoy this conversation, please make sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Check out the Genius Guide to AI product marketing on Substack in the comments below, and look at there for frameworks and insights for each episode. I'm Josh Porter. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.